Police officers and 3 health department officials came in commando style. They took strategic positions in the bar so no one could put their cigarettes out. It was like a drug raid. I mean, we were like criminals.
Here we're in the bar. You can't smoke a cigarette.
I'd just like to tell you that it's illegal to smoke in bars in California, okay?
The last bastion of smoking is a bar.
Right. Can I get you a beer?
I enjoy smoking. I'll stop when I feel like stopping, not because I've been told to stop. I have no intentions of stopping. I enjoy it.
Η αντικαπνιστική αστυνομία εφαρμόζει τους νόμους κατά του καπνίσματος, που ψήφισε πρόσφατα η πολιτεία της Καλιφόρνια. Προβλέπεται πρόστιμο $75 για κάθε αδίκημα. Για τους καπνιστές πρόκειται για μια ακόμα προσβολή της ελευθερίας τους.
They're health Nazis. They're looking to eradicate tobacco use. We're losing right now, but we're not going to lose the war. We're losing the battles.
Στις αρχές της δεκαετίας του 80, η εταιρεία RJ Reynolds επέλεξε ως κεντρικό πρόσωπο της εκστρατείας της στη διαφήμιση έναν αρενοπό τύπο, αντίγραφο του Harrison Ford. Ο David Gerlitz έγινε το σύμβολο των τσιγάρων Winston. Αποστολή του ήταν να προσελκύσει νέους καπνιστές, σε μια εποχή που το κοινό είχε όλο και μεγαλύτερη επίγνωση για τους κινδύνους του καπνίσματος. Καπνιστής και ο ίδιος, ο Gerlitz δεν άρχισε να εκπλαγεί από τη στάση των πελατών του.
One of the executives from RJ Reynolds came over and said, "What are you doing?" And I said, "Well, I'm smoking." They said, "Well, you're still smoking that stuff?" And I said, "Yeah." And I said, "How come you guys from RJ Reynolds don't smoke?" And he turned to me and he said, "We don't smoke the shit, we just sell it. We reserve the right to smoke for the young, the poor, the black and the stupid."
Αυτή η πιο επιτυχημένη διαφημιστική εκστρατεία στην ιστορία απέδιδε ένα πνεύμα παλικαριάς και αρενοπής συντροφικότητας. Ήταν μια εικόνα ειδικά σχεδιασμένη για τους νέους.
They told me on many occasions my job was to get 3 to 4 to 5,000 kids smoking every day to replace those who quit or die. We were getting new replacement smokers, and they, in our minds, were being told it's 12, 13, 14-year-old boys.
Η εταιρεία είχε κάνει έρευνα για τις συνήθειες των καταναλωτών, ανάμεσα στους οποίους περιλαμβάνονται και 14χρονα παιδιά. Η σημερινή διοίκηση της εταιρείας κατακρίνει τώρα αυτή την τακτική.
I think it was regrettable that it was written. Those memoranda are inappropriate. There's no question in my mind that tobacco companies oughtn't to be following the consumption habits of minors in planning their strategies for the future. Completely inappropriate.
Το 1987 η εταιρεία RJ Reynolds προσπάθησε να αναζωογονήσει τα Camel που παρουσίαζαν πτώσεις στις πωλήσεις. Επενόησε έναν εικονογραφημένο ήρωα, τον Τζο Κάμελ. Στόχος, νέοι πελάτες για τα Camel που έχαναν έδαφος. Σύμφωνα με τους επικριτές της, αυτή η εκστρατεία ενθάρρυνε τα μικρά παιδιά να καπνίζουν.
The tobacco industry has been brilliant in hooking kids. It demonstrates what you can do if you have no moral gyroscope whatsoever. It's not a coincidence that after Joe Camel was introduced, the percentage of American kids who smoke Camel cigarettes skyrocketed from less than 0.5% to well over 13%. During that same period of time, the number of adults who used Camel didn't move at all. Joe Camel wasn't one iota about adult brand switching. It was 100% designed to appeal to kids.
The one question my shareholders are going to ask me at the end of the year is, has Camel's market share increased? Because remember, it's just a consumer product competing against Philip Morris and other companies. And we would not be doing our job if we didn't do effective work in our marketing campaigns. It's a consumer product.
We have to sell cigarettes to your kids. We need 500,000 new smokers a year just to stay in business. So we advertise in your schools, at candy counters. We lower our prices. We have to. It's nothing personal. You understand.
The tobacco industry, how low will they go to make a profit?
I had my first cigarette when I was 13.
I can't remember doing very many things without a cigarette in my hand. Almost like a twin. A Siamese twin. Somebody that was there constantly. Like someone is embracing you. Like a friend is there. Everything is gonna be alright.
Δεν ήταν όλα εντάξει. Σε ηλικία 41 ετών η Ντέμπι προσβλήθηκε από καρκίνο του φάρυγγα. Τώρα καπνίζει από μια τρύπα στο λαιμό της.
I light the cigarette section from my mouth, and after it gets lit, I hold it to the stoma. And I'd like to say I just take a little puff, but you don't. You get all that you can. It's like, oh God, yes.
Το κάπνισμα συνιστά έξι ή αποτελεί προϊόν της ελεύθερης βούλησης των καπνιστών? Αυτό ήταν από τα πιο κρίσιμα ερωτήματα στη μάχη του καπνού. Οι κατασκευαστές του Μάλμπορο, του πιο εμπορικού τσιγάρου στον κόσμο, έδωσαν μόνοι τους την απάντηση. Αυτή η μυστική έρευνα είχε στόχο την ανακάλυψη ενός ασφαλέστερου υποκατάστατου της ηρωίνης. Αλλά τα αποτελέσματα της έρευνας είχαν ανυπολόγιστες συνέπειες για την καπνοβιομηχανία.
Rats took nicotine just the way people smoke. Rats would wake up in the morning, and before they would eat, before they would groom, before they'd get their water, they'd go over and they'd press that lever for nicotine just like a person who gets up and lights up a cigarette. And they would load their brains up with nicotine in the morning. And then all day long, about once every hour or so, the rats would go back and press that lever, just like people who stand outside and smoke cigarettes. And then right before the rat went to bed, right before a person goes to bed, they smoke a bunch of cigarettes to put the nicotine into their brain. And that was very revealing to us, that here was an animal mimicking what a person does. And that said something to us that was very important. It said that cigarette smoking was a biological process of addiction, not just a habit.
Για τον Βίκτορ Ντενόμπλ η ανακάλυψη ήταν πολύ σημαντική, γιατί η βιομηχανία αρνιόταν ότι τα τσιγάρα προκαλούν εθισμό.
People were very careful, Philip Morris, not to use the big A word, the addiction word. They would use things like impact. What is the impact of this cigarette? What they really meant was how much nicotine is it delivering to the brain.
Ο επιστήμονας κλήθηκε στα κεντρικά γραφεία της εταιρείας στη Νέα Υόρκη.
All of a sudden I'm going up on a corporate jet to New York City. I mean, I'm a grunt level scientist. I'm in a laboratory working with rats. And I talked to the president of Philip Morris. He asked me one question. He said, why should I risk $1 billion industry on rats pressing levers for nicotine? All he wanted to know was the profit margin. This is about money. Nothing else.
Οι δικηγόροι της εταιρείας πίεσαν τον Ντενόμπλ να μην δημοσιοποιήσει τα αποτελέσματα της έρευνάς του. Το ίδιο έκανε και ο πρόεδρος της Philip Morris.
This guy shows up, and I'm sure he's making like $1 bazillion a day. And he says to me, is this a test that a government agency would use to determine whether a substance has an abuse liability, an addiction potential? I said, of course, yes. And he got all upset, and he grabbed this guy by the arm, and he said, we're going out of here. And he opens the door, and he looks back, and he says to us, damn it, man, you're making us into a drug company.
Η εταιρεία αποφάσισε να σταματήσει την έρευνα. Ο Ντενόμπλ κλήθηκε στο γραφείο του προϊστάμενου του.
I'm sitting there thinking, wow, you know, this is more laboratory space. This is a bonus. This is a promotion. And they said, but as of 3 o'clock, and it's now 10 after 3, we don't do this research anymore. They said, I want you to go downstairs and kill your animals. Turn over all your documents.
ο Ντενόμπλ εξόντωσε τα 250 πειραματόζωα, αλλά κρυφά κράτησε κάποιες σημειώσεις από την έρευνά του.
They had people following me and watching what I was doing, and they were making it very clear that if I did go public, I mean, they told me point blank, they would absolutely categorically sue me and have me put in jail.
Η έρευνα του Ντενόμπλ παρέμεινε έτσι μυστική επί μία δεκαετία. Εθισμός ήταν η λέξη κλειδί για τον άνθρωπο αυτό. Τη δεκαετία του 80 ο Έβερτ Κουπ ήταν επικεφαλής της δημόσιας υγείας στις ΗΠΑ. Θεωρούσε τη μάχη κατά του καπνίσματος μια σταυροφορία, όχι μόνο για την υγεία, αλλά και την ηθική. Το 1988 εξέδωσε μια επίσημη έκδοση, η οποία ανέφερε ότι τα τσιγάρα προκαλούν εθισμό.
We in a sense made a word that was always associated with heroin and cocaine, criminals and crime in our streets, with a drug that was illegal. And here we have a Surgeon General's report that says a legal drug in this country, nicotine, sold as a legal product, tobacco, is just as addictive as cocaine and heroin. Well, that changed a lot of people's thinking.
Our opponents very much wanted to have that word in its pejorative sense, to link smoking with crack cocaine and heroin. And it was part of the strategy, obviously, to demonize smoking and to make it antisocial.
Μέριλ Williams, ο άνθρωπος που απέδειξε ότι το τσιγάρο προκαλεί εθισμό. Ο Williams ήταν υπάλληλος σε μια δικηγορική εταιρεία που εκπροσωπούσε την Branded Williamson, μια θυγατρική της British American Tobacco. Του είχαν αναθέσει να ταξινομήσει δεκάδες κυβότια που περιείχαν απόρριτα και ευαίσθητα έγγραφα για τη σχέση ανάμεσα στο κάπνισμα και την υγεία. Ο Williams έκανε κάτι που άλλαξε ριζικά τα πράγματα.
My thoughts were, there's no way in the world I can not get these documents. I've got to get these documents. I'm going to get these documents. And believe me, I was scared to death as I was taking out the originals. I had to take it out in sections, and I did the James Bond thing. I plucked the hair and put it in the section that I took, and then I went out. Getting out and getting in was controlled by the guards. And as I passed the guards, I would be munching potato chips, and the noise of the chips would be distracting to the noise of the paper. We were allowed to carry a briefcase. And at Christmas, I filled the whole briefcase with documents because nobody was there. I didn't even make a pretense of working. I just left and passed the guards and said goodbye and had Merry Christmas, and the spirit was such that nobody wanted to stop me.
Μέσα σε 4 χρόνια, ο Williams υπέγλεψε χιλιάδες εμπιστευτικά έγγραφα. Ένα από αυτά διέψευδε όλες τις δημόσιες δηλώσεις των εταιρεών καπνού. Περιείχε μία φράση.
We're in the business of selling a nicotine and addictive drug. I was totally shocked. I mean, I knew it was true, but to see it in black and white. They knew that eventually there were going to be leaks. They just didn't know that this was going to be one big leak.
Ο Μέριλ Βίλιαμσον αναζητούσε κάποιον που θα αξιοποιούσε τα έγγραφα που είχε υποκλέψει. Η εμφάνισή του στο Κογκρέσο θα αποδείκνυε ότι το κάπνισμα είναι καταστροφικό.
I'd like you to rise. You raise your right hand. Do you swear that the testimony you're about to give is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? I do.
We suffered a terrible loss in those hearings. The media picked up on it. The spectacle of the CEO standing like people before a lineup with their hands in the air was a devastating public relations blow.
It was a watershed event, and having crossed that point, we're never going to go back. The tobacco industry is not going to be able to put all this back in a bottle and hide it, as they were so successfully able to do for decades.
It was a perfect example of a show trial, something you don't expect to see in a free democracy. It was akin to the McCarthy hearings of the 1950s.
Yes or no? Do you believe nicotine is not addictive?
I believe nicotine is not addictive, yes.
Mr. Johnston?
I believe nicotine is not addictive.
I believe that nicotine is not addictive.
I believe that nicotine is not addictive.